An alien scientist tested human pain tolerance. The results terrified her. Dr. Lyra Vess had spent her life studying the boundaries of biological endurance across the galaxy. Among the Verathi, a species known for their crystalline bones and heightened emotional control, knowledge was the highest virtue, and discovery was the closest thing they had to spirituality. Yet there was one species that remained a mystery to her: humans. The humans were fascinating anomalies. Biologically fragile, emotionally volatile, and yet capable of surviving environments that should have extinguished them. Their wars, their losses, their ability to stand again, none of it aligned with the calculations Lyra trusted her entire life. So when the Interstellar Concord granted her permission to study a living subject for scientific purposes, she prepared a lab worthy of the moment. What she did not expect was for the human to volunteer. Elias Wren stepped into her sterile chamber with the steady posture of someone used to discomfort. A former Earth search and rescue medic. He carried an air of quiet resilience. His dark hair was tied back, his uniform plain, and his eyes held a calm curiosity that surprised her. "You understand the purpose of this study?" Lyra asked, her voice chiming lightly in the chamber. Verathi vocal cords caused every word to sound like layered musical notes. "I aim to test your physiological response to various controlled stimuli, pain among them." "Yeah," Elias said simply. "Humans deal with pain in different ways. Figured giving you honest data might help you understand us better." Lyra tilted her head. "Most subjects fear pain." "Fear isn't the point," Elias replied. "What matters is that I agreed." Consent. A deeply human concept. The Verathi relied on duty and logic rather than choice. This was her first surprise. Baseline testing. The first test was mild. Temperature shifts. Lyra exposed Elias's forearm to a slowly rising beam of heat, meant to mimic exposure on desert planets. Elias hissed, muscles tightening, but he did not pull away. "Why endure?" she asked. "You asked for data," he said through gritted teeth. "Pain isn't automatically danger. Sometimes it just is." She marked the results, perplexed. Ardurian subjects fled at a quarter of this intensity. Krillin soldiers demanded sedation. But the human merely breathed harder. It was the first time Lyra felt something unfamiliar. Unease. Neural stress calibration. Lyra initiated the next test. Neural pressure waves simulating migraines. In Verathi culture, migraines were catastrophic events. Pain of the mind was considered sacred, too powerful to experience without ritual. Yet Elias sat silently, jaw clenching, eyes shining with moisture. "You may stop at any moment," she reminded. He shook his head. "Keep going." The wave intensified. Elias's hands trembled violently, but he forced out a thin, determined breath. "People back home, they go to work with pain worse than this. Parents raise kids while dealing with it. Soldiers keep moving. Humans adapt." Adapt. That word echoed in her mind long after she shut off the device. Emotional pain response. This test was unplanned. While reviewing her data, Lyra noticed fluctuations in Elias's stress patterns triggered by memory recall. Humans stored pain in their minds with far more intensity than most species. "Elias," she said gently, "tell me, what pain do you fear most?" He hesitated. "Not from physical discomfort but from something deeper." "Failure," he said finally. "Losing people I'm supposed to protect." Her chest tightened with an emotion she rarely felt. Sympathy was not a Verathi norm. Yet Elias's voice carried a gravity that destabilized her. "So humans fear heartbreak more than injury." "Every time," he whispered. Lyra realized with a jolt that humans weren't resilient because they ignored pain. They were resilient because they carried it. The final experiment. Her final test was the most advanced, a multisensory simulation meant to measure breaking points. It projected phantom injuries, non-lethal but intensely realistic, onto the nervous system. "This is your last chance to withdraw," she warned. Elias nodded. "Start when ready." The simulation struck instantly. Elias gasped as phantom burns licked his skin, muscles spasming in response. His vision blurred. His knees hit the floor, sweat dripping from his chin. Lyra rushed to the containment field, monitoring his vitals as they spiked dangerously high. "Elias! Endure no longer. The threshold has been reached." But he didn't speak. He didn't rise. He simply braced one palm on the floor and forced himself upright again, shaking violently. Lyra's crystalline heart stuttered. Why fight when surrender was allowed? Why continue when the pain served no direct purpose? Elias inhaled a ragged breath. "Don't stop it yet." "Why, Elias? You have nothing to prove." "I know," he whispered. "But someone might someday need this data to survive. So, let the next person have better odds." The words pierced her like ice. This was not stubbornness. It was sacrifice. A willingness to suffer now so that strangers might not suffer later. Humans were not extraordinary because they survived pain. They were extraordinary because they chose to. The terrifying conclusion. After the simulation ceased, Lyra sat in stunned silence. Elias rested on the medical bench, gulping air but still attentive. "What did you learn?" he asked softly. Lyra met his gaze with trembling eyes, something no Verothi scientist would ever allow in public. "That humans," she whispered, "possess a capacity for suffering far beyond any species we have catalogued. Yet you endure not through biology but through will, through memory, through emotional conviction." Her voice wavered. "It terrifies me." Elias gave a tired smile. "Pain doesn't make us strong. What we do with it does." For the first time in her career, Lyra shut down her equipment not as a scientist, but as a witness. Being humbled, she recorded her final conclusion. Humans are the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Not for their strength, but for their ability to rise after breaking.